Welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast, where we take a look inside the lives of the accomplished and successful businessmen and women. We'll get up close and personal with the founders of booming startups. So lean in and prepare to carry away something to skyrocket your own business. Please subscribe to our show and do leave us a review. It means a lot to us. Now, here's your host, Rajiv.
Hey listeners, welcome to the Entrepreneur Talk Show. I am your host Rajiv Unikrishnan, and this is the show where we talk about entrepreneurship and speak to great founders, entrepreneurs and investors. Today we have with us Manish Taneja, co-founder and CEO of Purplle. Welcome Manish.
Thank you, Rajiv.
Just a brief intro. Purplle is India's largest beauty product and service destination, offering products and services I would say like no other portal in India. Purplle is more than just a merchant. They not only offer products from makeup, electronics and fragrances, but also are a window to the world of beauty services like spas, hair treatments, etc. A brief on Manish, grew up in Faridabad, Delhi and went to IIT Delhi. Prior to Purplle, he worked as an analyst at Fidelity. Also was with Avendus and Lehman Brothers. Again, welcome Manish. Do fill in the gaps, if any, in the intro and do let us know what's going on in your world today.
Sure. And thank you. So how I would put Purplle is, I think Purplle, the ambition of Purplle is, we want to solve beauty problems for people. What that means is if you have a problem with your hair, skin or makeup, or body, you can, the ideal state of Purplle would be we'll offer you a search bar and you just type in your problem and we tell you which is the right content to consume, which are the right products to buy, and if at all, and which are the right sort of people to visit, right? So for example, if you have a skin problem, we could be assisting you in the best sort of dermatologist, skin specialist in the city or in your vicinity. If you had problem with your hair, we could help you with the right hairstylist or even a trichologist. We also know the best pedicurist and the best sort of women who can do waxing. So, so the idea was people can come to us with any of their problems and we will recommend them the right content to consume, the right products to use and the right services or the sort of service professionals to call, right? So what we've done over the last 3-4 years is that we've assimilated a lot of content and now the pace is increasing incredibly fast. But what we did, I would say about 70 to 80,000 consumers and bloggers and YouTubers have created content for us. This may not be, so majority of this content is, let's say, in the form of reviews or uploading videos or uploading images, but or even share, sort of, we are able to stream their blog on our app. Right? So what this does is that what our job is to keep incentivizing the bloggers to create and share a lot of content on our platform. There are many bloggers who have thousands of followers on our platform, and therefore whoever follows that blogger, immediately gets a notification when a blogger or a content creator uploads a new piece of content. But our job is basically now to personalize the content, personalize the products and personalize the services that we showcase to our consumers. This does a lot of benefits. One, as a user, you don't see something repetitively. Two, it ensures that all bloggers get certain minimum number of impressions, and it ensures that customers find content that works for them. So it's done very well for us. In fact, we are very excited to now increase this even further. So and I think the pace is just increasing. So the velocity of content sort of creation on the platform and dissemination is something that we are working on.
Excellent. So, before I want to get fully into product, is any passions outside of work?
I love running.
Okay, that's common.
I think So, it started by fluke. I mean, somebody told me that there is a marathon tomorrow. That was Mumbai Marathon, and I had never registered for it. So somebody gave me a. So Mumbai Marathon has three parts. There is a dream run, there is a half marathon, and there's a full one.
Correct.
So somebody gave me a bib to run a dream marathon, and I said this would be so boring to run just 6 kilometers.
Correct.
So I just used that bib to run a half marathon. I'm sure nobody stopped me. And, I think marathon, or let's say half marathon, teaches you a lot of things. I mean, it teaches you your tenacity. It tells you to keep pushing and, keep persevering. I think it was the best part of my life or it is the best part of my life when I run. So since then, I've done about 3, 4 half marathons. It teaches you a lot about yourself. It gives you a lot of time to think, uh, uh, and of course, it keeps you fit. So,
Of course.
yeah. So I think that's uh, I would say a strong passion. I think the other stronger passion is, helping community. So, would love to do as much social work as much as I can do over the weekends. So I do try to help some organizations raise money, or even I just go and spend time with some sort of orphan kids, old age homes. It's in the DNA. It's I think both the founders love to do that.
Okay.
We love to support some girl children education on in our personal capacity. Uh, so, and we're trying to inculcate these habits in the organization. So we're trying to get Goonj to office. Goonj is an organization that collects clothes for poor children,
Correct.
people. So we're trying to get them to office and get our office to donate a lot of clothes. We're trying to organize a trip from our office to an orphanage. I mean, we are all very blessed, right? When we do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Once you meet these kids, you really know what sort of difficult times they're having, and it's worthwhile. So, on my birthday, I would want to take gifts for these children. I would expect gifts for myself, right? So, I think it's something that gives me a lot of pleasure. I try to do it as much as I can.
Okay, great. So being from a finance background,
Yes.
what inspired the idea for Purplle?
Honestly, it was a pure business call.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Rahul and I were flatmates in Bombay. Rahul is my co-founder,
Correct.
and he used to live at Tata Sons. So he used to work at Tata Sons, and his background was pretty operational centric. So sometimes he was setting up factories for them or setting
Okay.
up supply chain. And my background is I used to evaluate investments for Fidelity. Fidelity's private equity arm in India. It used to be called Fidelity Growth Partners in India, and now it's called Eight Roads. So at Fidelity, I have pretty much evaluated all the opportunities that came in those years, or in many cases, we did an outreach to a lot of entrepreneurs. I think. So I think one, why entrepreneurship, and then why Purplle, right? I mean,
Correct.
so I think first answer is, and I like to quote a principle. I mean, there is this next door guy effect, right? So if you know that your friend is an entrepreneur, uh, if you know your college roommate is a successful entrepreneur,
Correct.
you know your college hostel friends are entrepreneurs, and you believe that if he can do it, so can I, right?
Yeah, of
So,
course.
so I think that guy next door effect works really well. So, I fortunately I came from IIT Delhi, which has produced a lot of internet entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, in fact, my hostel itself, Binny Bansal is from my hostel.
Okay.
Zomato is from my hostel. Roposo is from my hostel. So these are guys who are my batchmates and or 1 year senior, and we grew up
Excellent.
together.
Okay.
So I think we do control a lot of internet startups in India. Even Rohit Bansal from Kunal from Snapdeal
Snapdeal, yeah.
is also IT Delhi, right? So you know, I think that was one. I think there was always this itch to do something of your own and create disproportionate value for a lot of people. Obviously, when we were starting, we didn't know we would come this far, and we
Yeah.
had never planned for this. Why beauty? I think it was a pure business call. We were looking out for categories that internet could disrupt. And categories had to have a certain framework. And I think the framework that beauty had was very interesting. So, the framework that beauty had was that there is a lot of fragmentation at the supply side. What that means is there are almost like uh, 1 lakh or like 0.1 million products that are sold in India in beauty.
Okay.
And there are probably like more salons in India than there are beauty products in India, right? So,
Correct. Correct.
every area or every zip code or pin code in India would have like 50 to 80 salons, right? So,
Correct.
just trying to help solve that problem of discovery seemed very interesting. The other metrics of the category were decent enough. So, we knew that we could make decent gross margins when we sold these products. We knew that there would be high repeat uh, because these products last for a certain time, and then you have to replenish them. So I think those things, and apart from the fact that it was a fairly large category in India
Of
and will
course. Yeah.
continue to grow.
Yeah.
So I think it was a business call where we said, is it a category that can be disrupted online? I think the answer was yes. Is this a large enough category for us to create a meaningful business? Does this category have decent economics? And obviously, does this category have high repeat?
Correct. Correct.
Right. So
Correct.
we look for some examples globally. Sephora had done this well. Ulta has done this really well. Um, I think in China in those days there was a company called Jume. I mean, there is still one called Jume that had done
Yes.
very
Correct.
well. In Hong Kong there is a chain of stores called Sasa, SASA. They've done really well. So the idea was, uh, uh, to sort of build something large, or I would say large enough,
Okay. Okay.
and I think beauty offered that sort of advantage and ecosystem.
Okay. So what would the vision be for Purple?
So I mentioned this earlier, but you know, the vision for Purple is, we'll offer you a product which is just a search bar. You can come and search any problem, anything related to beauty here, and we will be able to serve you the right content, the right products, right content to consume. We will be able to serve you the right products to buy, and we'll be able to tell you the right therapist, the right stylist, the right skin specialist in your vicinity.
Okay. Okay.
So as long as we are able to achieve that, I think we'll be very happy.
Okay. So I think you launched in 2011. I mean, like, so what's the background of the other co-founder, Rahul?
Uh, so, we launched on 25th December, Christmas,
Okay.
2011. So actually, we launched without a payment gateway, right?
Okay. Okay.
We only, so, because you were doing this for the first time, you assumed that payment gateway would fall in place. But I think 5 years ago, payment gateways used to be a pain point in India,
Of
right? I
course,
mean, maybe
definitely.
they're not right now, but it used to take you. I mean, approvals would take like 40 days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we had never assumed that. Any which ways, we wanted to go live, so we went live with cash on delivery only. Here's an important message, and maybe you'll ask me this question later, and then I'll speak about my co-founder. I think what happened, and I think that's the biggest learning that I had. Uh, what happened in the first 3 months? Nothing moved, right? We
Okay.
didn't know
Okay.
how to sell. We didn't know how to. We didn't know how to run a website. We kept making efforts. Obviously, there were a lot of issues. We didn't even know how to get a payment gateway, right? But
Correct.
what kept us going was we kept pushing the boulder. And so what happens is you start applying force and the boulder doesn't move. Um, you keep applying more force and the boulder still doesn't move. But 3 months later, the boulder started moving and then it started snowballing, right?
Correct, correct,
So my advice to people is in the first 100 days, don't give up,
correct.
right? I mean, nothing will work in those first 100 days. You'll be surprised. Our entire revenue in January of 2012
Mm-hmm.
is less than 10 minutes of our revenue right now,
Oh, wow. Okay.
right? So, or I think even lower, right? So, all I'm saying um, is that don't give up in those first 100 days. And once the boulder starts moving, it starts snowballing, right? So,
Correct, correct.
so I think that's my biggest advice to any founder. Don't be disheartened in the first sort of 100 days. I think the second uh, big learning, and I think this is also equally important, and I just shared this on Facebook yesterday. I'm happy to interview 50 people and not hire anyone.
Hmm.
Then, hire somebody who is suboptimal, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
From a culture and sort of attitude perspective, right? I think
Absolutely.
skills can be learned, but I think attitude cannot be learned, right? So, or at least at startups, you don't have the time to train people on attitude, right? So,
Yep.
um, so I think choose your people really wisely. Work with people who are not with you for money. Um but want to create a difference to the society, right? I mean, I think unless you're driven by a bigger objective, I don't think startup is a place for you to join, right?
Correct,
So
correct.
and we've made a fair share of errors, and this belief has only been strengthened now. So coming back to my co-founder, his name is Rahul Dash.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Rahul is an alumni of IIT Kharagpur and IIM Ahmedabad.
Okay.
Uh, he passed out from IIT in 2007 and IMA in 2009. From IMA, he joined Tata Administrative Services. Uh, it's a leadership program of Tata Group, and
Okay.
where you are rotated through various assignments at
Assignments.
different companies of Tata Group. The best part of that program, at least for Rahul, was he got access to some early stage Tata Group companies. Now, obviously, Tata Group companies are not startups,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they were setting up a a factory in JV with United Technologies where they would manufacture aircraft fuselage, right?
Okay.
Helicopter fuselage in Hyderabad. So, from a people of three team, he took that people of team of three, he took them to about 70. So that is something he worked on. Um then he was asked to join Tata Chemicals, where they were launching branded pulses in India.
Okay.
And he was actually based in a village in Tamil Nadu in south of India. It's called Puddukottai,
Yeah, yeah.
where he was sourcing sort of pulses. And then he was posted with Tata Motors, where he was supposed to look at and streamline the sales operations of Tata Motors Ace, a small truck that Tata Group had launched. Tata Motors had launched. And last he was part of the business development team at Tata Power,
Okay.
where he was trying to replace diesel gensets with fuel cell technology at all the telecom towers, right?
Correct.
So, telecom towers consume a lot of diesel, which makes no sense. And so, therefore, they were trying to sort of see if they could replace them with fuel
Got
cell
it. Got it.
technology.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
So, he and I were flatmates. Obviously, when we would come back home from work, we would discuss ideas. And that's how it all sort of started.
Great. So, I mean, before you all start, so when you all thought of the idea, I mean, how did you validate your MVP? Did you just straight away launch the site and earn COD and then start off, or?
So actually, we did good question. Given that we were from very structured thinking background,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Fidelity gave me a lot of thought on how to think about opportunities. So what we did, at least for last 6 months before starting Purplle,
Okay.
Rahul and I actually visited almost 100 beauty stores in Bombay and around.
Oh, okay.
And our job was we would stand there for half an hour and see how people are reacting, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
see how consumers are shopping and see how, and then sort of interview the sales girls or the sales sort of people who do your billing,
Correct.
interview
Correct.
them and figure out some questions and answers to those questions from them. So, one of the very important questions we always used to look at was, and the most fascinating experience was sometimes body shop stores in Bombay. But when you enter a body shop store, they actually ask you to buy a bouquet of products. So they keep a hamper in front of you,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you end up buying the hamper. Uh, so, one of the most important questions we wanted to know was what is the average ticket size that
yeah,
people
yeah.
are spending, right? We in internet have a very high importance attached to average ticket size.
Correct.
Otherwise, our logistics cost would not be recovered, right?
Yeah.
So, so, we did a lot of experiments. I mean, we went to, as I said, almost 100 beauty stores. Spoke to probably like 300-400 sales people in those stores, and understood how they're able to upsell, cross sell, and then only launched Purplle. So when we launched Purplle, it already had a lot of uh, ideas
Okay, okay.
in from the offline sort of experience of beauty buying.
Got it, got it. So, I mean, user logs into Purple. How does your discovery work? You have some strong algorithm behind it? I mean, is there something built
Yeah,
in?
so as soon as you launch the app and you log in, you actually the app has just three sections. First section is content. We call it Discover.
Correct,
Second section is Shop, and the third section is Book Salons.
correct,
So as soon as you launch the app, it launches in the Discover section, which is the content discovery section.
correct, correct.
And each piece of content that you see is sort of personalized for the users, right?
Okay,
So similarly, every page that you visit on the app or the website, let's say you visit a sunscreens page, or let's say you visit any area page in Mumbai for discovering salons, that's personalized for you basis a lot of parameters in the algorithm.
okay,
Obviously, one of the parameters is we know your skin type, hair type, makeup preferences, hair styling preferences, right? We ask you some questions, we quiz you, and then sort of we start sort of tuning our algorithm to fit something that you wanted. We also store all your clickstream history. So we know what you
got it.
clicked on last.
Yeah, yeah.
We know what you have just now searched. So that gets the most important, sort of most importance. We also know what kind of people are you following on Purple, right? So what kind of bloggers are you following? So if
Okay,
you
okay,
follow somebody's content, their content shows up on top, and so on and so forth.
okay, got it. So, I mean, like, yeah, I saw the content pages, really strong content providers. I mean, do you contact these people or they have just started coming in and providing content?
So initially we had to do an outreach.
Correct, correct.
Uh, Luckily, what's happening is what we've, another big learning, and let me just come here. What as a company we've been focused on, right? Is that we love to build engines and not work on events. So what that means is that uh, what that means is that whenever we create a product and whenever we initialize that product, right,
Okay,
after that we hope the product takes care of itself to a large extent.
correct.
So when we were thinking of this blogger association, right, uh, we knew that initial outreach would be done by us, but we knew obviously that we cannot reach out to thousands of people, and therefore, how would we incentivize people to sort of come and share their content openly with us, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And sort of, and they encourage more people, right? So what we've done, there is a level of social sort of advantage that a blogger gets when they associate with us. So what we've done, we said that you're creating a lot of content and you're uploading it on YouTube. Why don't you upload this content on Purple? We have a dedicated beauty audience which wants to watch
Correct,
these
correct.
videos.
Yeah.
So we will get you loads of views, viewership for your content, and we won't charge you anything. In fact, we would pay you in future if we are able to establish that this leads to a lot of fresh sales of products, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, what when you are if you're a YouTuber and you upload your content on Purple on a everyday basis, you get to know how many people have viewed it, who all have shared my video on various social networks. It could be WhatsApp, it could be Facebook from Purplle, who all have liked my content. So, this keeps you going. It gives you very, very granular level of information. It also tells you how many people viewed it. So, there is a self-reinforcing mechanism that keeps working, which sort of keeps pushing a blogger to, upload new and fresh content on Purplle.
Okay, got it, got it. I mean, so you'll have
It also, that
yeah.
email, that summary email that you get also tells you how many followers do you have, how are they increasing every week, every month.
Okay.
So, it sort of self-incentivizes the YouTubers and the content creators to
Correct.
upload more and more piece of content.
Got it. And I guess the YouTube is an embed, right? So he'll anyway get paid on the YouTube channel also.
Yes.
Okay, got it, got it. I mean, so a big piece of your product is also appointments at salons. So, I mean, do you have a lot of feet on street to fulfill these appointments, or it's all done automatically or online?
So, we started the salon bit late last year.
Okay.
I must admit it's a small part of our
Okay,
business.
okay.
Almost 95% of our business is products and about 5% is salons.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so uh, what we did, and initially we thought this would be easier to do, but I think it turned out to be quite difficult. So, what we felt was that data collection in the salon space is actually very difficult. So, what that means is that uh, unlike restaurants, right,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
have takeaway menus, right, so you can actually hire a courier boy, ask him to go to every restaurant and pick up the takeaway menu and scan it, which is what Zomato did, right?
Correct.
That's a slightly easier job than probably salons. Salons are, fine dining. They're almost like fine dining restaurants. Many of them don't have a rate card, or even if they have a rate card, there's nothing called as takeaway menu, right? So, and many salons are women only. So,
Correct.
sometimes our sales team or the data collection team actually has to wait outside a salon for 2-3 hours before a manager shows up and says, here is my menu. Can you take a picture of it and upload? Right?
Okay.
So data collection actually took about 10-12 months, right? It wasn't a couple of months exercise. What we've also done is we've given a backend app to the salon. So as soon as you book an appointment, that backend app the buzzer starts ringing,
Got it.
and they have to either accept or reject an appointment. In some cases where they do nothing, which means they don't accept or reject, in those cases we have a call center that calls them and asks them, is their appointment confirmed or
Okay,
not?
okay.
And then an automatic SMS goes to or a notification goes to the user saying that your appointment has been confirmed and you can go at the desired time. Right?
Got it, got it. Okay.
So there is not a lot of feet on street right now.
Okay. Okay. And so you're where are you seeing more traction from now, mobile or web?
Mobile, of course. So
Yeah.
about 70% of our
70.
transactions,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, 70, they happen on mobile. Uh, In fact, I think the entire digital content consumption, right, will happen largely on mobile because, it's, I mean, that screen really fits you, and also the personalization that is possible on a mobile basis your location. It's a very personal device. It's unlike a desktop. So, I think the kind of pre-shopping user experience that mobile phones and e-commerce companies on mobile phones can sort of provide is significantly better than what we can do on a desktop, right? So,
Correct.
we know your location. So, for example, if you're roaming around, let's say in Mumbai, in Bandra's, one of those streets, we could actually send you a notification saying, hey, why don't you get a Swedish massage at this place 10 minutes away from you, and by the way, we are offering a 50% off right now, right? So mobile is a very personal device and also offers you location. So therefore, personalizing your app for mobile is actually much better experience than on the web.
Correct.
So about 70% of our users transact on mobile.
Excellent. So, I mean, you'll have, I think, the past 12 months grown around almost 6 times and already
Yeah.
one of the few startups, not startups now, but profitable in the, I think, West and North zones. And
Yes.
you'll have grown, I think, from the first month's GMV of around INR 45,000 to planning to grow to around 300 crores in FY17.
You're
Are you
right.
all turning focus on other regions also?
Are you all turning focus on?
Are you all increasing focus on the East and South, for example?
No, so we have to. I mean, there is
Yeah.
no option.
Yeah.
So why have we turned break even in West, right, and North? Logistics cost is a big part of our cost, right?
Okay.
Uh, in fact, there has been a significant focus within the firm to, move away from a variable cost business to a fixed cost business,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
You know, you can never leverage your business if it's always a very high variable cost business. So, one of the largest variable costs is logistics. Now, because we had a warehouse in Mumbai, or I would say a fulfillment center in Mumbai, West was always very cheap to deliver for us. And also the experience in the West was much better. We
Correct.
could
Correct.
deliver the next day. Then we started the Delhi warehouse. North contributes to about 40% of our orders. West contributes to sadly only 20% of our orders.
Okay.
Um, so the next destination is we open Bangalore now and start serving South. East is only about 9%.
Okay. Okay.
So we will take a call when we want to open a warehouse in East. But Bangalore, definitely by September, we will have a
Oh,
fulfillment
great.
center that will serve Bangalore.
Okay.
So, I think all these three geographies we will break even.
Yeah. Yeah.
We might still lose some money shipping to the East,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll figure that piece out. At least the burn would reduce
Okay.
significantly
Okay.
in those two
Okay.
geographies.
Of course, fashion is one of the hottest sectors in terms of e-commerce, and you all have there is competition like Nykaa, Beauty Cafe, Fab Bag, etc. So, how is it? Is it healthy? I mean, how are you competing with these guys?
So, there is no beauty cafe now. I think they shut down about 2 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, and Fabbag is a very different business. I mean, Fabbag is a sampling business to a large
Oh,
extent.
it's okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
And so, they send you, it's a subscription business where they send you samples every month. Plus, I think they also launched a lipstick brand called Sugar or
Mm-hmm.
a makeup brand. But I think largely it's between the two of us, which is Nika and us.
Okay.
And I think the the lines are becoming very clear. So it's like we are two opposite poles, right? So we are very different DNA.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, at least I can speak about myself. I don't know what happens at Nika, but uh, we are an extremely technology focused company, right? I mean, if we would have our way, we would only do tech, right, and not do anything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
But there is always, so two, three key differences in my view. I think one is technology and using technology to enable efficiency and scale. I think we are miles ahead.
Okay.
Uh, I think second, if you see, is also in the content piece, right? I mean, what we've done is that instead of creating a lot of content on our own, what we chose to become was a platform that enables content dissemination and personalization. So
Correct.
we chose to become a YouTube instead of becoming a Yashraj Studios, right?
Got it. Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's always thinking what is feasible from a tech standpoint and what creates more value in the long run is something that we've always wanted to work on. Uh, I think I think these are two key differences, right? I mean, uh, and this is something that we will continue to build on.
Okay. Okay. So you all started
I
with
mean,
your
we are
yeah. Yeah.
working on chatbots. So, one of the ways to democratize the advice,
Uh huh.
right? It's basically, let's say you have a problem with hair.
Correct.
Let's say you have frizzy hair. You can come and ask us questions. Now, if we employed, so I know Nika offers chat, and there are some agents sitting at the back end who are
Correct.
chatting
Correct.
with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That piece is not at all scalable. I mean, tomorrow, if 10,000 people start chatting with you, what would you
You
do?
cannot. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Two, I think humans chatting has a lot of bias, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
might think a
yes.
particular brand is better just because you tend to like it.
Correct, correct,
That does
correct.
not always mean that you're rational about things, right? So we've been working on a chatbot. I think a beta version of it is live right now and on Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
Uh, and we will launch an advice piece very shortly. So the bot will help you what to do with your hair, what products to use,
Correct,
what
correct.
content to consume, what salons to visit. So, I think the idea is we think technology, we think tech products. Uh, Beauty happens to be, one of the areas we are focusing on.
Correct, correct.
But the idea is to build scalable products in tech, which maybe somebody else could also use. I mean, license from us and use. I mean, we are okay with that.
Okay, okay. So you started with bootstrap with your own investment of I think 40 lakhs, then moved to a round by Bloom and I think Mumbai Angels. I think followed by a round of
Yes.
2 million with Ivy Cap, and then currently I think of last month the 6 million B round.
Yeah.
So you're planning what? It's primarily for technology, and what are the plans to utilize these funds?
So I mean, you're right. We invested about 35, 40 lakhs
Yeah.
to start. Then we raised a angel round, which was with Bloom, Chennai Angels, Mumbai Angels,
Okay.
and in January 2015 we raised our Series A from Ivy Cap.
Hmm.
That was about I think three and a half and
Okay.
not two, and now we've just closed the sort of, I would say, the post Series A round.
Okay. Okay.
I think to call it Series B would be sort of not the right thing because the quantum is not that large.
Correct. Correct.
But
Okay. Okay.
uh, uh, but the idea of this is, and I think Rahul and I were debating this. I think a lot of people consume funds. Uh, we want to know, we want to focus on how to use these funds, right? There's a difference,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you continue to bleed, you consume funds, right?
Yes.
Are
Absolutely.
you focusing on the right things, which will differentiate you as an organization? I think that's called usage of funds. So what we're going to focus on is technology again.
Okay.
Um, I think we're already ahead of competition, but we've scratched the tip of the surface, right? So focus on tech uh, and 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 focus on marketing. I think
Okay.
these are the only two things that we would do this.
Okay.
We've already become a marketplace, so
Yes. Correct.
what that means is that we don't have to infuse capital into inventory. Uh, what that means is we are an extremely working capital efficient company, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we don't spend money buying goods and then selling it to our customers. So in that sense, we don't need too much money for working capital. Uh, so I think, as I said, focus on two things: tech and marketing, and I think that's what we
Okay.
would.
So let's move out of business. Who influenced you most in life?
So I think interesting. I mean, when I was at Fidelity, I used to meet a lot of entrepreneurs, right? I mean, I
Correct.
would have evaluated almost 100 deals in the 2 years that I spent there. So obviously, I was always fascinated by what they were achieving, right? I mean, um it almost felt like they had a bigger purpose in life than to just come to office and go back home, right?
Correct.
Uh, and I've seen them struggle and I've seen them sort of emerge really winners. So, it always inspired me, meeting all of them. I don't want to name any specific
Yeah. Yeah.
person. I also mentioned to you this guy next door effect, right?
Correct. Correct.
My hostel mates had done this, so, it was easier to take that plunge. But I think the most important person who has always influenced me is my mother. I think her perseverance in life is something that keeps me going on, right? I mean,
Okay.
I think I think she's about 25 years elder to me, and I think she doesn't give up at all. So it gives me a lot of internal strength to keep
Correct.
persevering, keep pushing boundaries, and don't give up. I mean, things will move. I mean, as
Correct.
long as you keep pushing in the right direction, things move.
Okay.
So I think these are three things
Okay.
that I would.
And some of the best advice you've been given over time?
Actually, some of the advice we were given, we didn't work on it. I wish we had. But,
Okay.
uh, uh, I think the only, I would say, in hindsight, I think the only thing that sort of I think I do remember very well is focus on one thing and become really good at that,
Correct.
rather than sort of building too many things just because your competition is doing it. I think uh, I think just build one thing really well, right?
Okay.
So, which is why, as I mentioned, salons is a slow and steady growth. It's not like we are spending 50% of our time on the salon side. I think still 80-90% of the time goes on to the product side, and within that also 70-80% of the time goes on tech and product, right?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
so keep building that. Keep making that experience better and better. I think one advice that we did work on, and I wish we had. This was given by one of our mentors and
Uh-huh.
advisors, I think in 2011 or 12, actually 11.
Okay.
Um, in those days, he wanted to build a mobile first marketplace, and we
Okay.
were still focused on the web, right? And I wish we had taken that lead in 2011. I think we would have been far ahead from where we are.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Right? I think
Okay.
we went mobile slightly later
Later.
than
Yeah.
we should have.
Okay. And any new feature or launch coming up at present which is getting you and the team really excited?
So lot. I mean,
Okay.
this is something that we love to thrive on. So I think next week we are launching our progressive mobile site. The mobile site will behave as good as an app behaves, so
Got
as
it.
good as a native app
Got it.
behaves.
Yep.
And I think 2 months from now, I think our chatbot for advice. So there's a lot of work that's going on. I think these two things,
Okay.
they keep me busy, right? Obviously, from time to time, you keep thinking about growth hacks for the app and
Yeah.
vice.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
And that's something that keeps us busy. But I think broadly, our progressive mobile site, I think Flipkart is the only other company that has it in
Correct.
India
Correct.
yet.
Yep.
Um it'll be incredibly fast. I mean, it'll be unlike a site. It'll be like an app,
Okay.
and then our chatbot.
Okay. And where do you see yourself and your business, let's say, in the next 2 to 3 years?
So it's difficult to predict 2-3 years from now. I think 1 year from now, you know. So one is we want to break even at the company level. We still lose some money, as I said, in Bangalore and in South and
Correct.
East.
Correct.
Uh, But I think more importantly, we want to establish sort of dominance in the online beauty space, right? I mean,
Okay.
I think we're there, but it still needs to be
Correct.
there, right?
Okay.
So it needs to be a very strong dominance. I think that's what we'll be focusing on.
Okay. So finally, we come to a part of the show which is quick fire round,
So,
simple, brief answers.
yeah.
Okay. When people ask you, what do you do? How do you answer that?
I think I am the chief growth hacker at Purple.
Okay. When you think of the word successful, who is the first person that comes to mind?
Uh, Tough question.
You
I
can
think
pass.
I've always liked Narayan Murthy,
Okay.
so I think he comes to my mind.
Okay. What do you excel at that people might not realize?
Wow. uh, I think my people skills are quite good.
Okay. And what is something you believe in that other people think is insane?
I think, again, coming back to the previous question, I think my people skills are quite good, so I'm able to convince them.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And what would you say is Manish's greatest weakness?
Uh, I think temper.
Okay.
I think I do lose my cool sometimes.
Okay.
I think although that has reduced a lot from
Uh-huh.
when we were starting up, but and I think my patience levels have gone up, but yeah, I do tend to lose it. I mean, I think my co-founders do a better job.
Okay. M-commerce or e-commerce?
M-commerce.
And your favorite city globally?
I think, I mean, I love going to Goa, so
Okay.
I don't know if it's a city. I think it's a state, but
Yeah, correct.
it's a state as large as a city is.
Okay.
So I think Goa.
Okay. Finally, Manish, any last thought or piece of advice that you want to give our aspiring founders and listeners?
Uh, I would repeat what I had said. don't give up in the first 100 days. Those days are probably the most difficult. The boulder doesn't move, keep pushing it, and it'll start to snowball. And I think look for the right talent. You cannot build any company alone. So, and I think third, keep building engines and processes and not work on events.
Okay,
Right? I
got
mean,
it.
create engines that work on their own and do not need an intervention from you every now and then.
Got it. And please let our listeners know how they can reach you and also Purplle.
So you can reach me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @mynextcompany.
Okay.
Uh, and you can reach Purplle. Twitter handle is @Let's Purplle. Facebook is also Let's Purplle.
Okay. Again, Manish, thanks for taking the time to talk to us and inspiring our listeners to start their own ventures, and all the very best with scaling Purplle.
Sure. Thank you so much, Rajiv.
Do visit Purplle, that's PURPLLE.com, and visit us at theasianopentrepreneur.com to get the show notes, and also please subscribe to our show on all the platforms. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. In the meantime, head over to theasianopentrepreneur.com and check out show notes and other information to motivate you in your entrepreneurial endeavors.